Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Yesterday doesn't matter, it only serves as a ladder. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, so make your plans accordingly. Today is a new day to start again. Take each moment one by one and do the best you can. Grand Rising. Today is a new day to start again. It is 5/5/2025. Cinco de Mayo. Isn't it funny how people just look for excuses to drink? I'm not a big fan anymore because I don't drink. That's a big part of it. That's what that holiday really kind of became. You're starting out weak whenever you throw kind in the middle of that. I'm going to be more assertive. That's what those filler words really show people, is that you're not assertive. It's first week at my new store. I had a really good week. I'm very happy with the start and happy with the environment. I feel like there's a lot of opportunity. I did go and watch the Pacer game last night and enjoyed that. I met a woman there who was a Cleveland fan and had a great experience meeting a really nice lady. And she's way out of my league. I thought I saw a wedding ring, but it was hard to tell. She was saying things that alluded that she might have been single. But her son did arrive a little bit later, and they went to go see a movie. So I really don't know. But regardless, we're talking. There was also another lady on the other side of me. And I just really kind of enjoyed the whole experience because this one lady was an older lady, 81 years old. She was very, is boisterous the right word for a lady? She was very talkative. She was drinking tequila shots, but she was like a really happy drinker and was proud of it. It actually came up in the conversation that maybe a week or so ago, she had 12 tequila shots in a night. And she was like, that was a little much. But it was interesting for sure. And actually the girl she's not a girl, she was a woman, she's a lady. And she was sitting next to me. Sounds like she did missionary work after she left, I found out. So, but she didn't wear that. And she was wearing all Cleveland gear. She was a major Cleveland sports fan. She liked the Indians. She liked the Browns, which is really hard to do. And she liked the Cavaliers. And the Cavaliers were playing the Pacers. So it was interesting. But we had interaction that was, I haven't had that many times in my life, but I recognize it when it happens, where it's just like a sparky spark that is really, it's intriguing. But I didn't really know what to do in the situation. I never seemed to know what to do in those situations. I had talked before where I should probably be more direct, but especially when the sun came, you can't do anything at that point. Very interesting situation, though. And what I kept thinking about, let's stay to my script now. Anyways, no, I don't need to do that. So I guess I will. The older lady was telling me about how privileged she was because she had worked, I forget at what company it was, but it was a large corporation or company that had given pensions like many of them did. And she's living off of the pension, plus she's living off of retirement from her deceased military husband. And so she's well off. And she's with her husband's best friend, who is now still alive. And they've been friends their whole life. So, I mean, she's got like this really sweet life. So I just thought it was all very interesting. And then when I got up early this morning, I started thinking about the tequila shots. And I was like, I mean, 12 shots is a lot of shots, lady. I mean, I get about living your life to the best of your ability, but we're talking indulging a little bit. That cannot be good for you. The weather hasn't been great, but we don't, like, there's somebody, you feel like somebody should be stepping in and saying, instead of celebrating an 81-year-old lady that's liberated and drinking 81 tequila shots, is why are you doing that with your liberation? I don't know. She's very nice though. So I mean, nobody's going to say anything. And you should be able to live your life however you want to live. And there's nothing wrong with drinking. There is something wrong with drinking 12 tequila shots when you're 81 years old, right? Isn't there? Uh, Whether or not, but she was at it again. So this is not an uncommon thing, is what I'm saying. But it's not the stock stuff. She's made an arrangement with the bartender to get the best tequila. That was what was done. He's a very sweet bartender and has helped determine the most cost-effective, best, purest tequila that she can drink. And he's the best bartender in town. It was a very enlightening night. I didn't watch the whole game though. I left at halftime. I'm such went home, got in bed, went to sleep. That's why I'm up at midnight. I left my phone at work, so I'm using my secondary phone basically, which I really don't even need my phone anymore. And it's also, I went to Goodwill and I got a really good find. I got a nice pair of sandals that are basically perfect. I did determine this though. When you have brown sandals, it limits your colors for your shorts. And I actually have shorts that go with black. And so now I got a situation where I got shorts that go with black stuff, or not even, or just with shoes really in general. You can get away with shorts with regular shoes, but when you're doing sandals, I just think that brown sandals with like gray shorts, I don't think it's just not going to look right. So I got some sandals, but I'm going to need some new shorts. I've been stretching a lot more at home. We're at one page, and I'm writing long now. Look at that. I'm getting, my penmanship's way better. And then sometimes I go a little crazy. This is kind of how my stuff looks. I actually sold something every day this week, so that was very nice. I'm really uplifted. I know I moved away from much higher income where I was at, but I really just don't care. I am such a better fit for where I'm at. And I have the skills to pretty much do anything. I totally understand that learning how to do things that are difficult, that you're not good at, it's very beneficial. I love how people like you to work through stuff, especially manly stuff. That's the one that really gets to me, but I don't want to go derailed here. I've already went off the rails. I also know only doing or primarily focusing on things that you are good at can be detrimental. So you do want to move into things. I think that getting into unfamiliar territory, what it helps you do is develop what I call the beginner's mind. The beginner's mind is when you are really good at things, but you need to remember that you should treat everything actually like today is a new day to start again, which is where my theme comes from. So pretty much today is a new day to start today is a new day to start again is a conglomeration of the Tao Te Ching and the beginner's mind. Those two things is what I think is the essence of enlightenment. And I think that the moment that I've added into that with my verbiage, the idea of the moment, your life is a moment, and then there's moments within the moment. I think that is, you're treating each day as a moment, but also as you're doing that day, you can kind of treat moments ahead. That's your whiteboard or whatever you're using for your plans in the future, but they're not like, they're written. That doesn't mean that they are going to happen. They're just what you're, and I do think, I used to talk about this whenever I was trying to help my daughters learn how to do stuff. And what I learned in college was when I'm trying to memorize something or learn something, it always helped me to say it, write it, and read it all at the same time. So if I'm trying to learn a word, if I actually say it, write it, and read it at the same time, and then like alternate how I do it, but use all three of those, that's made a huge difference for me in making it to where it doesn't take as long for me to learn things if I really devote myself into that. So I think that is telling whenever you're doing these spells, when we're writing and when we're talking and when we're doing things and we're making intent for our lives, which that's what these words can be used for. And I get into that, but the words are used to describe the past and to predict the future. That's what the writings are, but they aren't. They can be burned. They can be whatever. They can be erased completely. Where are we at? But anyways, what I was trying to say is sometimes when you get primarily focused into only one aspect of something, it actually is detrimental to everything around it. So should we be glorifying that kind of excellence at the detriment of what happened around? At what expense? When they get up and say, thank God, I'd like to thank God for my gifts. And, there's that big funny thing of God was on my side and not your side. That's the whole point. I am all about the simple life moving forward. I choose to do these videos. I really want to get back into the minimalist thing. I think that's very important to me. The reason why the minimalist thing to me is so important is when you do indulge, it makes the indulgence so much more gratifying and soul spiritually and everything else. You want to sip. That's a really important thing about life, I think. You don't want to overindulge in anything. Except whenever you do a video every day. I choose to do these videos at my own expense, to my own detriment. Should this be private? Probably. What is private, though? Have people said things about me that are untrue? Sometimes using social media to fight for your social justice, which is what I think I kind of did when I was younger, that don't work. In fact, you really can't defend yourself. All you can do is present yourself in the now. I'm not here to prove I'm right or left. I was left to my own, so that is what I have become. I am my own. I make to-do lists on my days off now. I'm developing my own workout routine, which is really just dedicated to me. I'm working on several different projects. I'm trying to follow through. That's one of my big ones. I have a painting sitting in my hallway, which is really in a nice spot for me to work at whenever I want to dabble. I set it up perfect. And all I really do is just walk by and keep looking at how unfinished it is. I've actually had much worse descriptives for this painting. I've called it a lot of things in my head, but I've really been working on not saying it and changing my verbiage to it's just unfinished. But I do want to get to it because I don't like it sitting there like that. Or maybe this is just going to become something that's going to be, for the rest of my life, I'm going to be working on this one painting. And it's really got a lot of work to do it, but I don't want to do anything else. It's kind of like my life. I don't want to do anything else that's going to mess it up more. I'm just trying to fix what I've already done wrong. So I'm trying not to add more. I'm just trying to fix what I've done wrong. Same thing with this painting so far. I went into it a little fast. I didn't have a great strategy. I thought that I gave enough time, but I wanted to be impulsive too. And then I got really too impulsive and it doesn't even make any sense. I don't even know what I got going on. I got like 3 different lines of like depth to it. And I'm not skilled enough to create depth in a painting. So it just looks like a big, and there's a stick man in the middle of it. And I'm not even sure what he's doing. I thought about turning it into a scarecrow. And I still think that might be what I'm going to do. But that's how unconfident I am about my painting ability. It's just sitting there right now. That woman last night had nothing to do, it had nothing to do with attractiveness, but it felt like it clicked. And man, I really did like that kind of thing. I really want that again. It's dangerous though, because sparks cause fire. And I've been trying to work on keeping my fire under control. I've also was thinking about this too. I didn't write this down, but it's not a sexual thing. When I get that, I've had that happen a few times in my life where you have that pop, 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 pop with a girl. And well, first of all, I don't know if that might be how she is with everybody. That's something you also have to consider. I just haven't had it happen that often, but that doesn't mean this person might have it popping off all over the time. So you don't really know for sure. It's very rare for me. But I also have noticed that it's not like I want to get in bed with her. Like when it's not pop, 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 and woo, let's get in there. It's like, let's get it on. But It's like, I already have established that let's get it on. That seems to happen. I got that in my head now. I've never really thought about that, but let's get it on. You'll wonder if people have that in their head when they walk up, and that's the first thing. You either have a let's get it on or a not let's get it on, like in the first impulse of meeting every opposite or everybody that you might be attracted to. How do you prevent that too? So that's the one thing in the Bible about, I would rather pluck an eye out. I think it comes down to what is sexual impulse and what is just like attractiveness. And we put those together. We've had a big problem with sex in our society, in my opinion. It's been skewed and messed up and taken away from us in a way that what it should really, this is going to sound fuddy-duddy, but it really should be sacred. And that seems to be like a prude man thing, Puritan thing, but I just think it really probably should be sacred to us. It's our thing. That's the one thing that we have, that's ours, that we can give away or not give away, that's taken from us too. That's what we could turn this really dark really fast. Obviously there's something to it, but let's just stay away from that. I want to stay back to the positive of the clicking with the really nice situation with the nice lady. It gives me hope that there is someone out there that I can click with, that I can completely be myself with, that seems to have been where I don't feel comfortable in our world. It'd be nice to have that, like to always know that you can come back to. Anyway, so I'm all about the simple life moving forward. I've already done that. Where am I at? I think I'm done here. I was left with my own, so that is what I became. All right, let's get into this one. Where are we at? 17 minutes? I am a mess, guys. Oh, I just thought it was funny because while we were talking, it was almost like that movie Frozen. One of my favorite parts of it, the animated Disney movie. I like that part in the very beginning where they caught me, was that song when they're singing along and they say, and they finish each other's sandwiches. And I just really thought it was cute, caught me in a right moment. And so I really like that Frozen song. But it seems like sometimes you have that it happens with the same sex as well, I guess. It's a different type of way, though. It seems like the play of the innuendo. I don't know. Is innuendo considered sexual, or innuendo is just, I don't know. I'll have to look up innuendo. I don't remember what that word actually means. I know it has something to do with implied. I have a hard time explaining myself. So the one thing that I left away from that, though, was after I left and she left with her nice, very tall son to go see a movie with him. And I was left with the tequila lady. And we talked for a minute. She was very sweet, very nice. She was not I wouldn't describe her as what you would call an alcoholic, but 12 shots. That's a lot of tequila. Tequila is not the best thing to be drinking either, or is it? I don't know. Tequila! It was baffling to me that it's so socially acceptable. It was crazy. But it was encouraged. It was funny. It was like glorified. But and maybe it should be. I don't know. She's just expressing herself, I guess. Hopefully somebody's driving that's sober. I don't know. I wasn't going to get into that. Maybe you should, though, as a social person. I'm sure the bartender is or isn't. Who knows? He's supposed to be the best bartender in Kokomo. Woo! I'm still talking too much in public and too long on these videos. My job requires me to be very engaging and influential. That's part of what my job is. So I need to really remember to push mute after I'm done selling, because I'm coming back and I'm still popping off. And I sometimes will talk myself into things because I'm being who I am and assertive and saying the things. And you put a quarter in me and you're most likely going to end up irritated and uncomfortable. I just end up doing that. Why? Well, I mean, most of what I've found to be like the center of my truth is money is evil. It's the root of all evil. It is a tool, in my opinion, that has turned into a weapon that has been weaponized, that really is just as something that needs to be abolished for a while. In my opinion, it's something that we just need to be done with. But nobody is going to listen to me on that. So I'm not going to pitch that hard. But that is what my true core belief is. So I got to walk around in this society where this is my premise, that we have to, I don't know how, we need to start talking about it. There's a lot of different ways. But as long as we continue to be on the money thing, we're still playing the game, that we're still playing Monopoly. The second one is time. Time is just an unverifiable measurement. It is not real. And in fact, actually, it's tarnished and wrong. And it's set up wrong on purpose. And we're living in the same thing that is that. So that's the reality of my core belief. And that's where I start from for everything. And then history it's really, there's no such thing. It's a made up word. It is a made up word. There's no such thing as history. There's written scripture. It's descriptive. Words describe, or they predict. I am not a prophet. I am not profiting. I am not a profiteer. I am anything but those things. So I am not false. I'm not profiting. I am true north, east. Well, I don't know which way east is. East to west. I'm very bad with that kind of thing. I need a compass, because if I don't have a compass and I don't have my fingers to do this and figure out west to east, and you spell that way, that's how I always remember it. We. And if I know where north is, once I have that, I'm full. New to full. Do you know what that means? New to full. New moon to full moon. Center, align, balance. What a long video. Do great. Be great. Be grateful. I have 2 days off. I'm at 22 minutes. Why not get into this? I really don't mind doing these videos. And I kind of like that nobody watches them anymore. So now I'm not really worried about hurting anybody's feelings, because nobody's watching. That's terrible. So the first one was good. It's where you hit the bell, the sound bell. You gotta really, this is a discipline. There's a whole thing about this, musicians and stuff that deal with these bells. I'm gonna try to get a 3-knocker here. I haven't been really pleased with any of those. That was okay. All right, I did find out that I'm gonna get my bell fixed today, so I'm looking forward to that. I've been getting into my rocks. There is one thing I want to talk about at the end of this. So I was in my car and I was trying to go to one of my yoga classes, and it's the parking garage. It's very tight. Whoever designed it, they did not account for the largeness of these vehicles and how big they would become. It's kind of like the old trains. They'd talk about how in the old trains, the seats were really small. And so now people that are getting into these trains are like, why are these seats so small? It's because they were kids that were in them, is what was going on. That's how they were being. The tracks were old. The cars they weren't as old as the tracks. And anyways, so I'm in this car, and I'm in a small car, and I'm in a confined area, and I'm trying to get everything ready so I don't have to, I'm trying to carry less stuff into my yoga class, because I don't want a big pile of stuff. I just want a little stuff so I can go in there and be in and out. I don't want to be taking up a lot of space, and I don't want it to take a long time for me to get in and out of there, because I don't like fumbling around with stuff. So I just want to have a couple different things come in there. People that do this probably understand what I'm talking about. So I'm trying to get everything set, but I had to change shoes. I had all kinds of stuff going on. And there's this dang old guy who I pull in because there's a spot next to me, open, and he pulls in with his big vehicle right next to me. And I couldn't even get my door open. And I was kind of bummed, because I get it, but I just felt like he could have found a different spot. But he came in right next to me. So he's just sitting there like this, while I'm trying to get ready in my car, trying not to be frustrated. And then I got to get out of my car, and it's the way my car sits, I'm a bigger guy. It's hard to get out of that sucker. Open the door. You got to try to get out without knocking your door into his door. And my doors have an electrical problem now, and they keep unlocking and open, knocking and open, just on their own, like it's like Christine. So I go through all of this process of trying to get out of this car without hurting that, and I'm kind of mad at the dude, but I'm trying not to be mad at anybody, and I'm dealing with the frustration of all of this. And when I get out of the whole thing and I have to slip out and just really try not to hurt myself, I'm getting ready to go to yoga, and I am 50 years old. I can't just be going like that, trying to get out. Especially when you get mad too, that's what happens. You're like doing this and you try to jerk something. You go, oh, why did I do that? And I've learned not to do that. So by the time I got everything out of this little spot, I was very happy with myself. So I went to the guy to kind of give him like a, hey, I just want to let you know, I wasn't trying to say I was mad at you. I was just trying to say, tell him the story a little bit. I was trying to be funny. And he rolled down the window, and I was like telling him about it, and it went okay. But then I was telling him that about my car, and obviously my car is old, and he just looked at me and goes, you know, son, I'm called to give you this. And he wanted to give me this Bible. And he goes, I just want you to know that there is hope in this Bible. And I said, oh, I appreciate that. I thank you. I wasn't really asking, but thank you. So I was trying to be polite as I was leaving. The reason why I'm bringing all this up is, and I don't want to get personal about the whole situation, but what I found interesting was the guy obviously thought that I was down on my luck and looking for hope, which I'm not. I actually have probably more hope than he does. But I don't want to be, it's not a contest to hope. But he obviously knew that I was down on my luck, and his solution for his salvation, his duty in life, was to give me this. And he feels that, I think from that he's enlightened for doing so. Does anybody understand? I think I just want to leave that open, because to me, that is kind of the same thing as the lady with the tequila. It's really, I almost want to turn back to him and say, my man, do you understand the inflating prices that are going on is caused by, I would argue, has something to do with this. That's very deep, but I mean, and what I need is help or encouragement. And the implication that I haven't done the due diligence of this. The other thing that you always will hear from people is, I was where you were. I was where you were. I love that one. It's just, that's not the best way to start a conversation. And there's nothing that puts you above me because you hold on to that. And I'm not trying to take away from this. This is just New Testament and Psalms, which I actually think is separate from the other stuff. So I think that's funny as well. I hope everybody has a great day out there. Do great, be grateful. I don't know why I do these videos. Just destroy everything that I have in my voice with my truth. I hope everybody has a great day.